let them in. So welcome everybody to Craft and Chat for November. And this is something I forget to do every time. And I forgot to do it on Stephen and Walter Live, the Zoom version on the weekend too, is to ask people to tell us where you're from. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to start with Joanna, putting you on the spot here, Joanna.
Okay.
Only because you're the first picture on my screen.
Yeah. I think I can answer that question.
Yeah. Just your name, where you're from, and you might make a second. What's your favorite crafting tool, or a tool you cannot live without, or that you reach for all the time? So we'll start with you, Joanna. I'm going to put you in the spotlight. And there you are.
Well, I currently live in Falling Waters, West Virginia, originally from northeastern Pennsylvania. And since I knit and crochet all the time, I'd have to say my knitting needles or my crochet hook.
Okay, I guess you need those to do that, right?
Yep, I need those to do that. You know, I do sew, but I can't think of some, you know, my sewing machine. Well, that's what everybody says, but I can't think of anything specific in my
No, that's fine. This is just to give us a sense of break the ice. It's an icebreaker. So Virginia, put you in the spotlight. So tell us about yourself, where you're from, and what you like as a tool.
Hey, I'm Virginia, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. And I just finished watching the video, Idiot Quilter, about seam rippers.
Oh, yes. Just put it up.
And I could not do without my seam ripper.
Yeah.
So I've got the kind that's got the little ball on the one tip.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're saying then that you make mistakes. I would say the seam ripper is used for finer embellishing and customization. That's what we'll call that. Okay, great. So Anita, you're in the spotlight.
Okay, I live in Tip City, Ohio, which is close to Dayton, Ohio, which is between Columbus and Cincinnati. And my favorite tool at the moment, I'm going to go with my glue stick.
Okay.
Based on what I've been working on the past month.
So glue stick for sticking things down, or just for sniffing while you're doing your art? Makes your art so much more interesting.
Well, this one doesn't smell, but I will say this. I was going to ask you guys. I have a StazOn ink pad, just a jet black ink pad, and I was using that, and I'm like, "What is that smell? It smells so yummy."
Smells like almonds.
It was the ink pad. Well, to me, mine smelled like when you were a kid, like cherry cough medicine.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's true.
And I thought, I wonder if other people, but I had not, didn't realize that they had a scent, but it does.
I don't know if it's on purpose or not. I have a feeling it's the solvent they use, but you might like that smell. I don't recommend sniffing it for too long. It's a solvent ink.
No.
So your artwork may look very different than you intended if you do that. Okay, thank you, Anita. Let's go to Jeannie, and you're in the spotlight, Jeannie.
I live in Fairfax, Virginia, and my favorite tool now, I think today my favorite tool is my fabric glue stick, which I've just gotten, and
what brand
really
do you use?
Enjoying. I use Quilter Select.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think they are a subsidiary of Floriani.
Oh, are they?
I think they are.
Oh, okay. Could be. I've heard of them. They have a lot of products and things like that, but I'm always looking for a good fabric glue stick, especially when you're doing English paper piecing, hexagons. If you do that method where you fold them over, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But okay, that's great.
But Quilter Select, doesn't Alex Anderson promote that as well?
Yeah, that's exactly, yes.
Yeah, she does. Okay, and there's Andy. So let's get Andy in on this now. Hello, Andy. So
hi, everybody. How are you?
Hey.
Good. we're just asking you to tell us where you're from and what your favorite crafting tool might be.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Andy. I live in a town called Rolling Meadows. It's about with Mitzi here.
Yeah.
She knew that I wasn't paying any attention to her. I live about 35 miles northwest of Chicago. I'm about 8 miles from our famous O'Hare Airport. I like to tell people I'm from the Chicago area by other places because Jeannie and I are actually Army brats. So we lived in a few different places. So I'll tell people, you know, if they ask me originally where I'm from, I'm saying by Washington, D.C., by way of other places. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like where I am. My favorite craft tool right now are these watercolor brushes.
Oh,
Of course.
what brand?
Lord have mercy. Pardon me.
I get it.
Yeah, Dana,
Vinci?
I think it's DAINAYW, and they're squirrel hair brushes. And I love these brushes. These are known as kind of round, and they're really good mop brushes. They hold an awful lot of water and a lot of pigment. So they are like my favorites right now. But I do have other brushes. But for example, if I'm putting in sky in a watercolor painting, I'll use this brush because I load it up once and it can pretty much take care of the whole sky. So
cool. Are they expensive brushes?
I got these off of Amazon, and I think that for the set of 3, they were maybe $45, I think.
Well, they're good brushes then.
Yeah, yeah. These are not the top quality brushes,
Right.
but they're working
good.
for me now. Yeah, they're good enough for me. So.
Yeah, you can spend a lot of money on brushes. That's for sure.
Oh, yes.
Been there, done that, eh?
Already done it. I have quite a collection, but I'm actually finding different types of brushes very, very useful. I'm really, when I'm starting to paint, I try to figure out how I want to approach a section of the painting, and I'm getting better at expanding my use of different brushes. So.
Yep. Well, I guess that's what it's all about, right? The more you do, the more you got to have different things for it. So
yes.
Now, does Walter need an introduction or not here? I'll add him into the spotlight.
I'm Walter from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada.
Videoing from his office upstairs. And Walter,
your favorite tool.
What's your favorite tool?
Well, obviously, I got a variety of tools. Anyway,
don't say me.
My big one is my seam ripper.
I was guessing that.
Probably my go-to is my bow and marker.
You really like that one, don't you?
Yeah, I really do. I really like that one. I use it all the time.
I forget about that. I have that one too. So
and probably my cheater glasses because I need it to look up. That's about it, I guess.
Okay. All righty. So I'm just going to go back to me for a second. Everybody knows who I am, so I'm not going to worry about introducing myself, but I will say what my favorite tool is. And I have to say my favorite tool, the one I reach for the most, I'm not wearing them right now, which is a surprise, are my little snip scissors that I wear around my neck all the time for cutting threads and things like that. I feel lost if I can't find them, and I have lost a couple of pairs over time too. They're not really lost. They're somewhere in my sewing room. Just I'm not exactly sure where. And it's funny that Walter was showing a seam ripper because I did put up an Idiot Quilter, as already was mentioned today, comparing 4 different seam rippers that I use. Of course, my favorite seam ripper though is my electric seam ripper. I love that one the best. So that's up today on the Idiot Quilter. If you get if you're interested and you want to check it out, it's there for you. Okay, so that's going to take us now to show and share. So if you've got something you would like to show us, if you've got and some ideas for future projects you might be working on, I suppose a lot of people might be thinking now towards Christmas and things like that. And so I'm going to go back to Joanna on here and see what you got. So put you in the spotlight. There you are, Joanna. Okay.
That's where on some of the same things you may well have seen it. I still haven't finished them, but I made these. They're embroidered faces, and they're done on a fleece, and you stuff them, so they're snowballs. And making them for extended family members. They have a couple of toddlers in the family, so I'm going to give them to the boys so they can throw them around the house so they don't hurt anything.
Yeah.
So there's 12 in the set.
Nerf snowballs.
Snowballs, and then there's a bag you make that you embroider on the front of it. Snowball fight. It's kind of cute.
Now, could you? Oh yeah, just before you move to your bowl, you could use those as pin cushions too, couldn't you?
Yeah, I guess they could be pin cushions. Probably would be nice that a few of us made pin cushions in our quilters group. I mean, our sewing group, and we stuffed them with wool. So maybe if I stuffed it with wool, it'd make a nice pin cushion. Yeah. That's true.
They're funny. They're
Good
fun.
idea.
Not funny.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun.
Okay, what else you got?
Nephews many years ago, and my brother told me that was one of the first things they would go to. So I figured they're popular with the kids.
Yeah.
So, and then I did one of those clothesline bowls. This one I wrapped in fabric.
Oh yeah, that looks really. That kind of turned out nice.
Yeah, I like it, but I got to learn how to make it come out the way it's in my head. This came out, I think I made the base too big to come out what was in my mind. I wanted it narrower. It doesn't go up as quickly as you might think when you start making it go up.
I haven't tried one of those, and the only reason I haven't tried one of those is because I made one of those jelly roll rugs.
Yeah.
At one point in time, you know, where you go round and around and around, and that was enough for me. I mean, I made one. I don't think I'll ever make another one. Walter made one too, but you were did you make a second one, Walter? No.
No, I bought stuff to make a second one, but I never did.
Yeah, well, you can have them. But yeah, the bowls are really neat.
Wrapping the fabric around the rope is a little tedious. I will agree to that. So I made another one that I don't have here, but I think I've showed it before, where it's just the rope and then we'd embroidered in the base before the sides went up, and that turned out okay.
Now, could you, because the rope you're using is basically like a cotton, isn't it?
Yeah, this one is a cotton polyester blend.
I wondered about dyeing it.
That's a possibility. Now, I ordered another batch, and I thought I was ordering the same thing, but it turned out to be all cotton, what I recently ordered. So I went ahead. I think that I heard somewhere that the one with the polyester in it is a little bit more sturdy. So I went with the sturdier one this time. But I haven't tried the all cotton one yet. But that's a good point. Might be able to dye it and not deal with the.
Or you might be actually able to paint on it.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Like with a fabric paint or something. Yeah. I don't know. That might be. Well,
now you're starting to get out of my bailiwick. I don't do that kind of.
I'm just thinking of other things you could do with them. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever make one or not.
I have a book that has many different shapes that you can make. And I was curious as how you do that, where they make them look like these big vases and pictures. And I haven't gone through the book yet. So I haven't figured that out. I didn't even get my vision to come out. I like it, but it's not what was in my head. So I think I have to do quite a few more of them to figure out what I need to do to get what I need.
Well, it's like anything. The first time you try it, you know, it probably takes practice. So
it'll take practice. Yeah.
So got any other things you want to show us? Or?
I got a couple of Afghans.
Oh, okay.
I finally finished one. It's a crocheted Afghan.
Oh, wow. That's a big one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's narrow, so it's like a lap quilt, but I made it long enough that it'll go from my feet to my neck, no problem.
Oh, that's nice.
That's what I wanted. So I finally finished that. It's a bunch of several years ago I got an advent calendar with a small thing of sock yarn every day I undid, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So I decided to crochet it, which comes out different than if I knit it. If I knitted up those little yarn balls, they would have come out self-striping. But crocheting did different. So I would get 3 different, totally different looking squares from the same skein because the colors fall differently when you crochet it.
Yeah, right.
So I had fun doing that, and happy it's done.
Well, looks good.
My work in progress. I started it a long time ago, and I brought it out now that I got that one done, and it's another crochet blanket.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And it's fun. The way the pattern goes, it looks the same on both sides. There's no wrong side.
Oh, well, that's good.
Fun. Yeah, that's fun.
So can you make it all in one continuous piece, or do you make it row by row and then fasten the rows together?
No, it's one piece. I just change I do 3 rounds of one color and then 3 rounds of the other color.
Oh, okay.
So I'm getting ends I'm getting, I'm gonna have to weave in the ends.
Right.
Because that's from changing colors.
Yeah, but that makes it a little easier if you don't have to stitch each row together.
Oh yeah, I don't think I would have picked it if I had to do that.
No, because that's the killer.
The other Afghan I did, I crocheted their little granny squares, and I made about 180 of them. And then the neutral color, which was the green in my case, you make a square and then you crochet it together with the color squares. So I didn't have to seam any of them. They were all crocheted together because I didn't want to seam all that. That's way too much seaming.
Yeah.
So that was a lot more fun. And then other things I make hats, but I donate them to the cancer center where I go. So I donated 3 hats yesterday.
Well, you've been busy.
Yeah, I keep busy.
Yep. Well, it's probably the best thing right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So any future plans for projects you want to work on coming up? Anything for Christmas or?
Other than the snowballs, I don't have anything specific for Christmas. But I have lots of yarn I want to use up, so I keep on making hats. I have sweater quantities of yarn to make myself some sweaters. I need to hurry up. I'm going to run out of time.
Yeah, I know.
You get to an age, you don't know if you're going to get them all done. And then, of course, I have the sewing I want to do. I need to finish the quilt that we did with our Wrangle Your Scraps in the Quilter's Way. I still have to quilt that thing. So there's never any end of things to do.
Nope, that is true. Okay, thanks, Joanna.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Jeannie. You're in the spotlight.
That's your hand, Jeannie. We see your hand.
I think she's trying to unmute herself.
There she is.
She's trying to unmute.
Yeah.
I think you all should know that when we Zoom with our younger sister, the same thing happens.
Well,
okay.
I'm working on a scarf for a friend of mine. And
pretty.
Thank you.
Is that knit?
It's pretty.
It's knit.
Who's that for?
It's for my friend Kevin.
Oh,
not for you. Nice try, though.
I'm not showing what I'm making you. So,
but I may not be alive this time tomorrow. Would you want me to die happy?
Yeah.
I would want that. This is I'm working on table runners for the friends in my church group. And so this is I did the pattern in EQ8, and it was to use up my scraps from or the leftover blocks from the quilts I have been making. So
good use for them.
Here are 2 of them that I've been working on. Let's see.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Those are really, I love that one with the well, I like both of them, but I like the blue one.
That was Andy. That was from Andy's son's quilt, a quilt I made for her son.
Oh yeah. That's really, I love that pattern.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And so are these both patterns original to you then? You designed them all in EQ8?
I had the one I did in EQ8, the one with the musical things, but the other one was from Bonnie Hunter's Scrappy
okay.
Mountains Majesties.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I like that
Wow.
design. Yeah, that make a really great looking quilt.
So anyway, so that's what, yeah, it was. So I'm happy to be using up orphan blocks.
Yeah.
In Christmas gifts.
Yep, that's a good way to get rid of them.
Yep.
To good use. Yeah, I'm making placemats too, charity ones, just from strips of leftover Christmas fabric for our guild. We give them to Meals on Wheels every year when they deliver their Christmas dinners to shut-ins. So they get
that's a great
placemat.
idea.
So yeah, so we get quite a few out of our guild. I think last year we had well over 100 placemats. So that was good. And it's a good way to use up your scraps as well. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Anita.
Hi.
What you got to show us?
Oh, let me stand up here. I may have to stand back. I'm trying to get used to, what the camera angle, but I pulled I don't know, a watercolor that I did.
That's really nice.
That's really nice.
Sunflower. Yeah. I got glare from a light here shining on it, but that's one of mine. I thought Andy would enjoy that.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
So that was fun, and that was the first sunflower that I ever did. And then I thought I would play around with another of the leaf technique. So I did work on one, and I have to
oh wow.
I have to find the sweet spot. I mean, this is probably going to get cropped down quite, into different ones.
That's all watercolor?
Yeah. No, this is the fluid acrylics.
Oh, okay.
The golden fluid acrylics.
Yeah.
The leaf technique where you lay the real leaves out.
Oh, yeah, right.
And all that stuff, but it's done on watercolor paper.
That's really nice.
So it's a hot mess. One side of it I like, and the other side I don't.
Oh.
So
I kind of like it all.
But
so
the colors were pretty.
Yeah. So what? How heavy is the watercolor paper you used on that? Because it looks like it's a fairly.
It's a 22 by. That was a full sheet, which is 22 by 30.
But what's the weight? Do you know? Like 160 or?
No, 140.
Oh, 140.
That was a 140 hot press, which is smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's see. And this is a little cushion. I didn't make this. I bought this last year at Pier 1. But when I look at it, I think about you, Stephen, with your embroidery machine.
Oh,
how cute is that?
Yeah.
And I love animals with glasses.
Oh,
and that happened to be the little cat, which was perfect for
cute.
my house.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got that about a year ago. We bought a dining kitchen table from Pier 1, and then a year later, they closed up.
Yeah, that's right. They're all closed up now, aren't they?
Yeah.
I used to like going in there and looking at, because they usually had sort of unusual things.
Yeah. I liked Pier 1. I had never bought any furniture from them.
No.
But we really loved the table we got. So we had plans to, replace some more things, but it didn't work out.
No
and
such
then
luck.
This is I have this hanging in my kitchen above the counter. That is a cross stitch piece I did years ago
Oh, wow.
with
Yeah, that's nice.
strawberries. And I did this for a friend, my best friend, and who taught me how to cross stitch. And I ended up doing more than she did. And so I did this piece for her. She loved how to, she was a great cook and a baker. And I did this for her birthday one year. And sadly, she passed away 3 years ago. So her husband called me one day, and he came by the house, and he was going through things in the kitchen that she had, and he wanted to know where he could sell them. And I referred him to a consignment store we have in our town. And after he left, I got to thinking about that piece. And I thought, you know, Scott's not going to know that, you know, because she wasn't married to him when I did this. And I thought it could end up at Goodwill or in a consignment store. And I called him and said, you know, if you are going to get rid of that, or could you look, and would you care if I got that back? Just because it's something I did for her, you know?
Yeah.
So I got it back, and it hangs right above my counter where I cook every day. And that's it.
That's
I'm
nice.
glad you got it back, because I don't think people pay much for those. All the
No.
work you put into it, they would never pay what it's worth.
Oh, no, they don't, because I have a gorgeous deer, and it must be about this big. It's one of those pieces. It's a deer in the woods, and it's beautiful. And I found it at a place like Goodwill, and it was counted cross stitch on like linen, and they wanted $20 for it. And I bought it. I couldn't leave it there, and it hangs above our desk in the living room. But I knew the work that had went into it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And then the reason I said a glue stick was I was at Hobby Lobby, and I bought a package of these little sketchbooks, and you get 3 in a package, and they come, 2 of them came with this brown craft paper, which is not very thick. I mean, it's, pretty thin, like copy paper thin, I guess, suppose. So there were 2 craft ones and 1 gray one. And I thought, I'm going to get those. And I am terrible about, maybe going to classes when you could, and workshops and doing something there, but, not completing a whole thing once you get home and just stuff. And in this little bedroom I'm in, like, you can't see it all, I hope to God not. All around me are boxes and clothes hamper baskets and boxes and little baskets full of the stuff I've been trying to weed through. And I am determined, and I'm making lots of progress, but I decided, you know what? I've watched a gazillion videos on glue books and journaling and writing, but I don't have one single completed book. I have bits and pieces and bits and bobs. And so I thought, I'm just going to, as I'm going through little baskets with cards and notes I've taken and things, I'm going to do something with this book. So I've had more fun with this, and just things that I have done. Like this was a card that I cut, and I put scrapbook paper, on these pages. I have to look and see what this says. It says journal every day, make life better. And that's just the way I had done that whenever. I thought that would be a good opening, and I'm going to put my name and the date that I started this and the date I finished this one. And then on this book, this page is a little watercolor that I did and stamped hello. I mean, that's just in my stash of things. And here was some I did actually this spring. I kind of have a thing for chairs, like comfy chairs and little watercolors. So I did a series of those, and it says, and then the quote I put was, "We know nothing of tomorrow. Our business is to be good and happy today." And so I put that there, and I like this magazine image with the blues and stuff. And then I had some rub-ons for words. So I thought those two would go well together.
So essentially you've created an art journal.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Or some people say a glue book. I don't know.
Art journal sounds more elegant.
Yeah. So, I've just done different, something I ran across that I, was inspired by, or something I've done like this, and some paint chip samples, and postcard that came in the mail to vote for someone. And I like the postcard, so I cut that in half. I haven't put a quote with that yet or any thoughts. This image was from a 1962 calendar that I have. It was a vintage art calendar. And then there's a poem here called The Friend Who Just Stands By. And I ran across that. I had copied it down. And it's from 1926. And when I ran across it, I thought, hey, that will go really well with those two girls there. So as I've been running across bits and pieces, I've been putting them in here and having a blast with it. So I'm about halfway through this one. So it'll probably last me to the end of November.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And the things that I am finding that, it's things you've had your hands on forever. You've touched, it's like, oh, I like that, but let me put it here. And then you don't end up doing anything with it.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a special, box that when I'm going through and shredding and getting rid of stuff, if I find that special thing, I'm putting it there. And then when I sit down, I'm, pulling out things and putting them together.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Good way to organize.
Well, I'm getting there. It's going to kill me, but I'm getting there.
Hey, it's a hobby.
Yeah. But I ran across something that I was really excited about on YouTube. And, I don't quilt. I would love to, at some point, be able to set my sewing machine up in here, but it's not ready for that. But, I started out many years ago as a young girl. I learned how to sew, but I did the needle art. I was taught to knit, to crochet, to embroider, the counted cross stitch. So I've always loved fabrics and yarns and textiles. And I actually watch several YouTube channels from women that they live in England or the UK and around. And you're right, Stephen. They are nuts about their knitting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The ones I watch, they knit, they crochet, and they do some sewing. And I think it was through one of them that I checked out this one lady. And her name is called Anne, Anne Brooke, Brooke. And she is a textile artist. And she does something called slow stitching. I thought, well, maybe some of you guys knew what that was about. So I started watching her videos and I am just mesmerized. It kind of reminds me of the crazy quilts, with the stitches and the fabric and all that, except she does them on crazy quilts was more how perfect you could get something with your stitches and all of that. Yeah. And the slow stitching is not. And so she started a project the beginning of the year that she used some sort of wooden spool, and she had a long piece of what I would call batting fabric, but it's not very wide. I think 3 inches wide, possibly. I'm not sure how long. But each month she was teaching something what she calls the slow stitching. And it's just taken bits and pieces of scrap fabric. And she started out with just doing like a running stitch. And you're adhering it to a piece of batting or a backing fabric, and you're just layering. And then one month she added yo-yos. We call them yo-yos. Yeah. I found out over there they call them Suffolk puffs. She lives in Suffolk, and they call them. She didn't know they were called yo-yos, which is interesting. But you guys might just want to check her channel out and look at the work. And then she did like a little book, and the little book was almost, that she added on to each month, on how to do stitches and put things together. And there's a whole community, and you could choose what size. Like, I think some of her little books that she's done have only been about this big. Yeah. But it's absolutely gorgeous.
And they're all made out of fabric, because I checked her out because you recommended her to me. Yeah, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about slow stitching and my experience with it later on today when we get through everybody. But yeah, it's very interesting. So it's kind of like collaging, only in fabric.
Oh, I don't think I will ever quilt. It's not going to happen. But this I loved, and I thought, oh my gosh, all you quilters have all these fabric scraps. So, but did you ever run across something where you've bought things and you really didn't know, you just know you loved it, and so you gathered stuff, and then one day it's like, this is why, know? And so I have collected buttons. Oh. I, was at a thrift or some sort of sale, antique sale, whatever. And this lady had all these bags of buttons, and I bought them for like $3 a bag. And I have red ones and, every color. And then I also had other buttons that I had for whatever. So I've been putting buttons in these jars that they're kind of like the Starbucks drink things, except I get a different brand. But I have about 3 white ones with all kinds of little tiny little pearl buttons and flat buttons, and I have red and white and yellow and blue and black and every color. And so I thought, okay, I've got little trims, you know, just all kinds of trims and antique pieces I've picked up when I've been places. Stephen, if you've seen her site, you'll know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
you
about.
You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And just things that I had picked up, that old crocheted pieces that I fell in love with. And they look like crap, but I know what I'm going to do with them now. So, and there's some I've made myself, and I've got, you know, just some laces, and I started going through some fabrics that I have. And so I'm assembling my things, and I think I'm going to start, you know, like she was teaching from her beginning this year. She's done a whole project this year.
Yeah.
She's getting ready to do a Christmas project. And then on her channel, she's got community where people who've done things, you know, shoot her the photo.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I watched some of those videos, and like I said, I'm going to show you something in a little bit here that's related to that I've done. But until you brought it up, I didn't know there was such a thing called slow stitching.
You know, I didn't either. And I thought, as much as you've watched YouTube and as much as you've watched, I mean, I guess I've watched more journaling and art and mixed media, but I haven't seen anyone with this. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Anything else you want to tell us before we move over to,
No,
I think, Andy?
No, I've talked too long.
I know, it was nice to see the stuff that you've got. So, Andy, are you in the room over there? Andy?
I'm here.
Okay. Your turn. No pressure.
I had to go take care of some business with Mitzi.
Oh.
Well, the most recent thing I worked on yesterday, one of the options we had for voting was mail-in voting, but I didn't mail mine in, so I went to a local courthouse and put it in the voting box. And I thought I was going to be facing a crowd, so I took my cell phone, a book, and my sketchbook, because I thought I'd be waiting, and a big thermos of coffee, because I thought I might be waiting in my car to get a parking spot so I could go into the courthouse to drop off my ballot. But it turns out I went in and out. There was hardly anybody there, and it was a gorgeous day. So I sat outside the courthouse and I did plein air sketching. My first time.
Wow.
So I decided I wanted to document going to the courthouse on voting day.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't finish watercoloring it. I got tired of it after I drew everything in. So I'm just going to leave it like this. But at least I got to document the things that I wanted to.
Yeah.
So that was that. Beginning of the month, I enjoyed spending time on my bullet journal.
Oh.
So I love autumn. It's my favorite time of year. So I took quite a bit of time working on this, figure out my layout. So this is the monthly calendar, which I really don't need, but I just like building it anyway.
Oh.
And I haven't colored in my little turkey yet. Mitzi, what are you doing? Oh, goodness. And habit tracker, and then a daily journaling spot.
Oh, cool.
So, but I just love the autumn colors. And then my task list over here, I think, yeah, that's over there. and then my weekly menu, and then a notation for any groceries I was to get. So,
Andy,
yes.
Who did you take the sketch course from? That
I just watch YouTube videos.
was there a certain class or did
No.
you mention a certain guy that you followed or?
There are a number of different people that I follow, and I watched a couple of courses on Skillshare,
Okay.
but most of what I'm picking up, I'm getting for free off of YouTube. There are a few people that I do follow on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I have Skillshare too. I just hadn't done the sketching thing. So.
Then this was something that I did this morning that I'm going to watercolor in, and it's called one line. It's a method where if you have like an architectural structure, you pick one line for a focal point. So rather than drawing the whole thing, I just decided I wanted to focus on the side of the bed where there was this tower. I think I must have been leaning my head when I did the top part there because it's like at an angle. It's like it's like the leaning tower of Pisa.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I was just happy that I got the proportions right.
Yeah.
So I was very happy with that. And then one thing that I decided to do, excuse me, what are you chewing on? Oh, I thought she was chewing on something. I wanted to do a scrapbook page about what I enjoy about retirement. And I was trying to figure out what can I do? And then it dawned on me, why don't I do small watercolor drawings of things that I enjoy about retirement and put a little caption underneath. So I did this page.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Those are all the things that I enjoy about retirement. So
awesome.
And really, you're combining two types of crafts, right? Like watercoloring and scrapbooking. So
yeah,
which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and then one thing that's on my to-do list, my computer, my desktop went on the fritz on me about 6 weeks ago. In fact, the motherboard died on me, so I had to buy a brand new computer, which gave me sticker shock. But I have some photographs that are still in this camera that I need to transfer over, and then I'll be doing some editing on those pictures. And some of them are of neighborhood kids. I told the parents that I would give them copies of prints of the pictures. So, but I finally have my computer and I have some of the software back. So that will be another thing I'm working on this month.
Well, that'll be nice. So anything else you got for us?
No, that's pretty much it. I've just been doing my regular kind of practice sketching and playing with watercolors. I've decided that last night I was going to make the leap and went to what is it, Blick Art Supplies. But when I got there, they had closed. I didn't realize they closed early, but I decided I was going to make the leap and get some professional watercolor tubes because our younger sister, she wants me to do a series of watercolors for her of lighthouses. So I've been practicing, but holding off to get the professional paints. I didn't want to use them with the student grades because they're not necessarily light fast.
Oh, you will think you've died and gone to heaven in Blix. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I already know. They know me there.
By first name. Okay, that's great. Thank you for sharing all of that. And Virginia, you're in the spotlight. So what you got to show us, Virginia?
Okay, well, last month I was working on quilting a panel.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, that turned out really
Oh,
nice.
my.
Gorgeous.
Oh, wow,
Oh,
that's
my
nice.
goodness.
All free motion, right?
Oh,
All free motion.
Geez, you're good.
oh, that's beautiful.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, looks
You
like it.
know, I've had this panel for a couple of years, and it seems like everything just kind of clicked. And so, you know, I just kept working on it, and it turned out really
And
nice.
yeah, it did.
Wow.
I've got a panel like that too that I've never done anything with. I should try that. Be good practice for free motion quilting. And
Yeah, and there's so many people on YouTube that have shared their, you know, what they've done with them.
yeah,
So I picked and I chose things that I felt like I would have fun doing. And so it's, you know, their ideas, but it's totally in my creation.
yeah.
Yep.
That looks really nice. And you, what did you put on the back? I saw a little glimpse of your backing fabric that looked really kind of interesting. Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Oh, you can
wow.
really see your quilting on the back of it
Right.
too, which looks really
That's
nice.
really
That
pretty.
background.
Right.
Oh, geez, I wish I could quilt like that.
How long have you been free motion quilting?
I started out on my sewing machine, and it's been about, well, I got my new sewing machine in 2005, my new one. And so I've been quilting on that. And then I ended up switching over to the sit down.
Sit down long armor.
Yeah. And I've had that.
Wow.
I've had that for several years. So
Wow.
it just, you know, it takes a lot of practice.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
more you do, the better you get. That's what I'm finding with ruler foot quilting. I'm getting a little better each time I do it. So I can expand out from that. But yep.
Yeah, and you get that, you get the
sometimes
muscle memory going,
Yeah.
and you know, it just, you know, when it feels right.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, if it's not inconvenient, I'd love for you to turn the camera to show it, because the only ones I've seen have been like the big long arms in the quilting store. So I would love to see what a sit down one looks like.
Shall I be truthful with you?
There it is.
I have stacks of stuff. So I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can even see it.
It's in there somewhere. There, I can see it.
But it's like a large sewing machine. It has a 16-inch bed on it, and it's facing me. It's not sideways like typical setup of a sewing machine.
Okay.
It faces me. So I've got all that space on both sides that I can see.
Wow.
And then you just move the fabric around. It's not like the stand-up ones where you move the machine around.
I move the fabric around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What brand is it?
It's a handy quilter.
Oh, okay.
It's called a Sweet 16, and the only thing it does is basically up and down, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you do everything else.
Yeah, I regulate the speed on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had a speed regulator on it, but you're the speed regulator, right?
I'm the speed regulator.
Yeah.
I operate the foot pedal, and I kind of think sometimes I kind of drive like I sew. You know? So it's not always steady. It kind of, you know, faster sometimes and slower. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've got it on a table that is open, and so then I stash everything underneath in the table.
Yep.
That is cool. Thank you.
Oh yeah. So anything else you want to share with us, Virginia?
Yes, I have been embroidering.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
That was last year. You said you were working on napkins, and I knew I had some around someplace, but I finally found them. So.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's cute.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You're doing that by machine or by hand?
Machine.
Yeah.
That's cute.
That was on my 2005 Denomi.
Oh.
Cute.
And I had designs from the And I thought, well, I'm going to see if they still have my account open, because I did that in 2005. And miraculously, they had my account. They had all the embroideries that I had downloaded from them.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
I like
cute.
that. Yeah.
And they're still all available that I could download them.
Oh, that's pretty.
Really
So
pretty.
my machine only goes up to a 5x7. So
Yeah.
that's, that's
But that
pretty
works
much
fine for napkins. So
that's fine for me most of the
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
And then
that's
I embroidered on paper.
oh, so is that
and
a
I wanna
card?
get- That's the card.
Yeah, I haven't tried to make any cards yet. That seems to be very popular.
Well, this I did,
Oh, wow.
when I first got into it,
that's nice. Yeah.
and I
Is
had
that handmade paper or fabric?
it's handmade paper,
Okay.
and I had bought it. I think it was like Hobby Lobby
Oh,
Oops.
that I bought it a long time ago. I don't seem to find it as often anymore, but it's almost a fabric kind of a texture.
Okay. Yeah.
that's great.
So
I'll have to try
I've been
some
in-
postcard or cards or postcards and that. I've seen lots of things on YouTube about making them, that kind of deal. I've just never gotten around to it. Have to try it. Another thing
Yeah.
on the list to do.
yeah,
Okay. So is that everything, Virginia?
that's everything.
Okay, well, thank you. So Walter, I know, has some stuff to show us. So Walter's in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing my pants, but I still have a couple of things I have to do on my pants. I have to put my button on the top yet. And then I have to hem them, and that's it.
Wow.
But they look
And
really
then,
good.
I've been doing an embroidery project. So I got this from OEM and I put it together.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That is huge.
It was not without some cursing and swearing.
I would bet.
And didn't you stab yourself with your stiletto too?
Yeah, it's all healed up now, but yeah, my stiletto went pretty deep into my finger.
Oh.
But the thing was, I told him how to do it. He insisted that that was not the way to do it and all that kind of stuff.
No. Other certain things it was hard to do it on, so I used an alternate method.
Well, then that's how you got your finger.
For the
pricked.
most part, I did your suggestion.
Oh, there's a confession you won't hear every day. Looks
So that's
good. So
basically all I did this week in my pants. So
I thought
I have to get ready for another class I'm doing. We're supposed to be doing a hoodie, and I got fabric for it. So we got I got gray. It's not very good. Gray and a sort of a teal color. Actually, it doesn't come up as a teal. It looks blue, but it's actually a teal color.
Pretty.
yeah, so that he's got enough fabric there to make 2 hoodies. So
Walter, I'm curious. What are all the machines you have in there with you?
Oh,
Because I'm counting 4.
okay. I have, let's see, sewing machine,
Okay.
which is this, right? Then
It's
I've
a
got
Janome
embroidery machine,
6700.
which is this. Oops.
Now, what machine? What kind of machine is that?
Hmm?
Is that an embroidery machine?
Yeah, that only does embroidery.
Okay. Wow.
And then this is a very old serger. And then I don't know if you can see it. That is my new cover lock machine,
Okay.
Wow.
and it's the one that does hems.
Nice.
Stephen,
Yeah,
does he now
And then
have
that's
his
my this is my cordless iron.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen, does he now have as many sewing related machines as you do?
Oh yeah. We could open up a sewing store in here now. Actually, the sewing machine, the first one he showed you is a Janome 6700. That was my first real machine. And then when I bought the embroidery machine, the 15,000, and he was just starting to fool around with sewing, and I said, well, take the 6700, I said, because I'm not using it with the other. And then I decided that I needed a lighter machine when I went to classes, so I bought the M100 machine, and then I upgraded that one to the Skyline S7. And so I've got, and plus I have a serger too. So yeah, I have 4 machines. He's got 4 machines. So, and that's not even counting the ones that we have in the crawl space that are really ancient machines. Like his mother's machine is there, and there's another machine, isn't there too? Or no, that was my sister's and we got rid of it.
Yeah, and I have my mother's ancient machine that's used, that's in the, that's the hand crank.
Oh.
Now, I'm trying to remember, Stephen, when you first started to quilt, and I thought at some point somebody asked Walter if he would ever be interested in getting into like the quilting and sewing thing, and he said, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, now look at him.
No,
but he does.
I'm not into the quilting stuff. I tried quilting a couple of things, but the piecing I don't really care for.
Okay.
He doesn't like doing the quilting, but I don't think I'd want to do the garment sewing because that's too precise a sewing for me. And you know, it's funny, people who sew garments, a lot of them will say they don't want to do quilting because they think it's too precise. So
yeah, so to me, quilting's too precise. Actually, the only part of quilting that actually appeals to me, which I really haven't done, is the free motion stuff.
Well, and I'm the opposite. I like
that
the
kind
piecing.
of appeals to me.
Yeah, I like the piecing.
I like the piecing.
But
when I did it, I liked the piecing too. The rest of it, it was like I do the top, and it was like, okay, well, so much for that.
I like doing the quilting part of the top once I get into it, but it's the setup. I hate layering the quilts to make the sandwich and then getting everything, you know, because they're so bulky. If you don't have a long arm or even a mid arm like Virginia's on that. So, but I'm determined that I am going to master quilting on my domestic machine before I think about buying something more elaborate, like a long arm. Plus, they're like they cost a lot of money, a lot of money.
It's actually a lot more fun for me to kind of sit back and wait for Christmas because I've gotten, I think, Jeannie, what, 4 quilts from you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jeannie's made me 4 quilts. So I don't have to worry about it. I just get to sit and wait for the Christmas. And I do have to tell you, my favorite quilt that she gave me, we had a baby sister who passed away a number of years ago. And Jeannie made a quilt from me that had pieces of Carla's clothing in it. Yeah, so that's the one that's the most special to me.
Yeah, memorial quilts. Yeah, that's true.
Thank you.
So I guess anything else, Walter, you wanted to show us?
That's about it right now. You're trying to con me into making a second one of these.
Yeah, I did, because I have a plan. I have a plan. All the ones that I've been making, I want to put them on my, I think I showed it on my vlog a week ago, that I did a fireplace mantle scarf, they call it. So it sits on your mantle and then it hangs down over top of that. And that's where I want to put a lot of the embroidered things this year from Christmas and light them all up. That's in my plans. So I thought it would look really nice if we had 2 nutcrackers, one on either end of the fireplace. So that's why I said,
nice.
Make it. I could make it, but I'm busy with other things too. So
what about getting him to make a larger one to be in the middle so then you have 3 odd numbers?
Hey, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
I like to cause trouble.
Yeah. You notice he's looking away. He's not paying any attention. He didn't hear that.
He's looking away and probably saying, damn that Andy.
Probably. But anyways.
Great big one.
Okay, so I've got some things to show you too, but what I'm going to do is I have pictures of them. So I'm going to switch mine over to screen sharing here. And let's see, I got to I don't think I have them open yet. Just a second here. I did have them open at one point. So just bear with me for a second. I have to find them. And I know where they are. I have so many things on here. Okay. All right. Okay, now I'm going to switch over my screen so you can see this. And share. And can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I
wow.
just finished this. This is they call the design a
Wow.
Dresden, and usually you have special plates and you templates and you cut them out of the fabric. This is all done in the hoop on my embroidery machine. So all of these are embroidered on top of fabric. It's like an applique. You cut away the fabric and it does all of these, and you do them in, there's 4 little squares in each one of these units, and then you put all the units together and border it. And I finished it the other day, but I'll show you a close-up of what one of them looks like. There's what one of them looks like.
Wow.
So this took
Okay.
me, I started this probably in September. Now I didn't work on it every day, but it takes, to do one of these little sections right here where the 3 are in it, takes about an hour or so. So
Wow.
you're talking 4 hours to do one of these. But
Wow.
yeah, I had made one of these once before, but not a Christmas themed one that sits on our dining room table upstairs in black and white. Same kind of pattern, just different embroidery in it. But, and you see in this little snowflake that's here, that's actually what they call a freestanding lace embroidery. And I fabric glued it to the center because actually in this pattern, the center was just a big hole, like a big solid circle, which I thought was kind of like took away from it. So I
Yeah.
made these, and I didn't really want to sew them on. So I used fabric glue with it. And it's a glue that you could take this, wash it, and it'll hold in okay. So that's one thing there that I got done. Now this, it's sort of sideways where it's hanging. I had scraps of Christmas stuff. So it started out, I was just going to make it into a charity placemat, but it kept growing. And it was with gnome fabric. So you see my little gnomes all in here. And I want to put gnomes along the side. This is now a tabletop, or it's square. And I had this embroidery pattern, but I didn't really like how it was sewing out. So I went into my artistic digitizer, which is Janomi's embroidery software, and I altered a little bit for my purposes. And the reason they go in different ways is because if this was sitting at your table and this was flipped around here, whoever's sitting on one side of the table will be able to see the gnomes facing them the right way. The people sitting on the other side of the table will be able to see the gnomes facing them. That's why I did it that way.
Right.
But this is not a planned pattern. It just came out this way. I was just sewing pieces together to see what it looked like. So it was a way to use up scraps. Now, this is my little sugar chalet, which I already showed on my vlog. And I think this one took a while to make, but I really like it. And I'll show you the side piece. There's all these.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
Yep, they took a while, but they're not individual. They're a row of 3 in each one.
Okay.
And then the rows all overlap each other when you put it on. But yeah, it's kind of fun. Now, the thing that Anita was talking about, the slow stitch, and I have a picture of one that I did. Now, I didn't know this is called slow stitch. I just called it abstract. So this is sort of the idea. Now, in the slow stitch that the person that Anita was talking about, she puts buttons and pieces of old lace. You can do anything. I just use scraps of fabric, threw them down on top of other scraps of fabric, and I thought thread down on top of it, just, you know, that I was discarding, basically. Threw that down on the top of it. I had this little applique of the sunflower, put that on. I had an extra butterfly that I was embroidering at one point. And then you put some water-soluble stabilizer over top of it. It's a clear plastic one by Sulky. throw that on top. That holds all your pieces down, and then you just stitch all over it, whatever way you want to. So I do have, it's hard to see it, but there are some decorative stitches in here on edges of pieces, and you just go all over it. There's no, you don't have to do anything in a straight line, anything like that. It's all abstract. And then when you've got it all sewn down, you just take it and wet it. And all of that stabilizer disappears, and all your pieces are still there, because otherwise they were all loose before I put the stabilizer on top of it, and they would have, like, by the time you started getting them all sewn down, they'd be all over the place. But that's the sort of thing that slow stitch is like too. I equate it to doing collage with paper or a mixed media piece, only you're doing it with fabric pieces. So, and you don't have to sew it. You could glue it too. If you're not a sewer, you can do this kind of thing with just glue as well. I'd use a fabric glue, but easy enough to do it. And if some of the little pieces come up, there are a couple little pieces here that aren't completely tacked down on the edges. That just adds texture to the whole thing, just like when you're doing mixed media stuff. So when Anita showed me that, I thought that was a really interesting type of technique that I think is accessible to anybody, whether you sew or you don't sew. You could do that. So does anybody have, I think we got, I didn't miss anybody, did I, on the show and share or anything? I think I got everybody. Okay, so is there anything anybody else wants to tell us about today? Nope. Okay. Now the next date for the next get together is scheduled for December the 2nd, which is a Wednesday, the first Wednesday of December at 1 o'clock, the same as this. I was toying with the idea, and I'm not sure where people's computers are located, of making it like a retreat where we work on whatever we work on, and, you know, we can talk as we choose to talk, but, you know, just you sort of have your camera on.
Fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because the only difficulty with that is you have to have your camera or your computer, whatever device you're using. If you're using an iPad or an iPhone, that's easy enough to move it in with you wherever you're crafting as well. So, you know, you can show us things as you work, and we can chat back and forth. We won't do it for, you know, a whole day or anything. Maybe we'll just put it from, say, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock on that day and see how it goes. So if you're game for that, that's what I'll set up for the next time. Okay, everybody okay with that? And that's what I'll announce to on my vlog and everything, and we'll go from there and see how it works. I'll probably be doing my part from my sewing room, because I'll probably be sewing, which is okay, because that room's already hooked up to be able to do this too. So everything's hooked up for this. I didn't put one in the bathroom though. You'll be happy to know about it.
Thank you.
Okay. Just in case you were wondering. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great, guys. I'm glad you guys could make it today. It's great seeing everybody and seeing everything that you're making. And I'm going to put this up on YouTube later today as well. And yeah, so let's see what's coming up. Stephen and Walter live on Sunday at 4 p.m. And then my vlog next week, and there's already a Idiot Quilter for this week up too. So I've been busy. So have a good one, everybody, and we'll see you for the next one, if not sooner.
Bye. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.